Welcome back to Market Pros, and let's get right into it. Alright, so here we have Solana on FTX on the 1 hour. So we did come back down, like we were talking about, bounced off this diagonal trend line. It was pretty spot on that. So far it's playing out pretty much how we thought. Um, okay, so all your moving averages do have negative slopes. Looks like they retested, well, the 21 and the 50 retested the 100 and resumed off to the downside. And so if these start fanning out, it's not going to look good. If those start fanning out, we could probably have enough to break this blue line and then break this diagonal trend line, because also that would also coincide with us getting in the bearish control zone and us probably curling back over and possibly crossing over the signal line of the MACD to the downside. Positive momentum is printing its first light green bar, so that means it's starting to decrease. We are below the signal line, below the zero line, I mean. Your vol is in the lower zone. Volume is still heading down. It's been trending down for a while, which means supply is coming back into the market. So validation to the upside. Oh, by the way, we are in the neutral median zone of the RSI. Let's see. No divergences. So validation of the downside would be if we break this diagonal trend line. That's really our last point of support right now. If we do break that trend line, I would expect us to work our way down to about $70. Validation of the upside would be if we can get back above this 200 right here at basically 109, in between 108 and 109, and it would also make a higher high than this last, well, both these last two highs, but especially this one right here. We want to make a higher high than this. If we can break the 200, I think the next stop would be $115. Then our green zone right here in our diagonal trend line at 122, and then back up to here where we tested last time at about 135. I would expect pullbacks along the way. Nothing goes up in a straight line, but that's what we would be looking at. So yeah, those are my thoughts for Solana. Let's move on to Atlas. All right, so here we got Atlas. RSI is in the bearish control zone. We don't have any divergences. We are below the signal line now. Fresh cross to the downside of the signal line. Still in the bearish control zone. We got rejected from the top of the bearish control zone. Let's check the MACD. Looks like we're curling back over. Your positive momentum barely even increased. We are below the zero line. Another bad sign. So if we curl back over and cross that signal line, stay in the bearish control zone, your vol starts to expand down here in the lower zone. I mean, I'm surprised we didn't print this blue signal already. We are very low. So the next move will be nice. We've been down here for a while. Last time we were down here for this long, you had this downward move right here. So, this next move should be nice. Your moving averages all have negative slopes. Looks like they're trying to fan back out. Atlas doesn't look very good, to be honest. If Bitcoin can break out, maybe Atlas could go, but I mean, Atlas has only gotten weak bounces. Atlas and Polis have been in a downtrend for a long time. I mean, they've made the full retrace. So unless they start getting in a zone, like an accumulation zone, they're just going to keep going down. I mean, it's crazy how poorly these coins have performed. I mean, and I'm not trying to FUD anybody, but these coins have gotten wrecked. So this one's pretty easy because we are in a range. Let's go ahead and lower this down. So this is your range from basically from 0.0260 to 0.0246. That is your range. So either way this breaks out, I would like to see it get above. I would probably say if it does break out, we'll probably maybe get a wick, to maybe 0.0265, then come back down, retest top of the range at 0.0260, and then come back to it from there. Next spot would be 0.0279 to the downside. There's really nothing we can do and like calculate where we could be on the downside. I mean, I guess we could take a fib from this last level on the short term. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, we could do that. We still have targets down there. Okay, so let's zoom in. Sorry, it's laggy. Okay, so next target, 1618 at 0.0244. After that, I'd be looking in between the 272 and the 414 at 0.0238 and 0.0237. That would be the level I'd be looking at next. Here, I'm going to put a box there. Would expect to bounce at that 0.0 or that 1.618. So this would be the area I'd be looking at. And then if it breaks that level, sheesh, we'll come back to it. So let's move on to Polis. All right, so here we got Polis. RSI in the bearish control zone. Looks like we did test the top, got rejected. We are above the signal line though. And it looks like it's trying to break out. But we're not going to break out of the bearish control zone unless we get above these moving averages. MACD. Fresh cross to the upside, actually. We are below the zero line though, so we got a long way to go before we cross that. Positive momentum is increasing. So, and your vol is very low. So if we can get this as an up move while your vol expands, that'll look good. And see here, do we have any divergences? Okay, so no divergences. Because I wouldn't count this as a low. It's kind of just a curved move. So yeah, if we can get above these moving averages, I would think that we would get back up to 158, basically 10 cents. So yeah, I mean the RSI is trying to break out. The MACD has a fresh cross to the upside, and if this vol starts to expand, that's going to look good. Now to the downside, we'd be in price discovery. Besides this point down here that we've talked about before. Let's zoom out. Because there's only one more point of support, which is down here at 135. Let's go ahead and put a box where our support's going to be. It's actually a pretty big area. But this is what I would be looking at. This box right here. That's our last point of support. If we break that, we're in price discovery to the downside. We do not want to break that box for sure. Because then there's no telling where we could end up. I mean, then we'd be making new support levels, new resistance levels, be in price discovery. Polis looks better than Atlas. Polis, I mean, we'd have to come back to this. I'm kind of neutral on Polis right now because it could look good if certain things start to happen, but it could also look bad if certain things start to happen. We break this box, man, you're in trouble for sure. I currently just am neutral. All right, currently neutral. Let's move on to Bitcoin. All right, so here we got Bitcoin on Bybit on the 1 hour. So your RSI is getting out of the bearish control zone. Let's get up in here. All right. So yeah, we did come out of the bearish control zone. Looks like we might be coming back down for a retest. And we did bounce off the signal line as well. Yeah, so that's not bad. MACD, fresh cross to the upside. Positive momentum is increasing. We are below the zero line though. We need to get back above. We need to stay above 39,951 in order to keep rising. On the RSI, we need to stay above basically 40,000 in order to not cross back down into the signal, cross the signal line to the downside. Your vol is in the lower zone. Your volume is trending down, which means supply is coming back in the market. This Bart played out exactly how we expected. We were talking about this right here in the middle of this range. Played out exactly how we expected yesterday. Yeah, it was crazy. You know, I went to work, came back, I'm like, bam, there it is. So yeah, your moving averages have negative slopes, but it looks like your 21's trying to curl back around. If the 21, and this would be the bullish case, RSI starts working its way up, MACD plays out this cross, vol expands, get some volume back here, take some supply out of the market, cross these moving averages. Your 21 and your 50 cross the moving average to the upside, and they start to fan out. Then I would expect us to come up to the 200 and the top of this range, 41,500. We need to get back above 44,600 in order to, I think we'd go to 50K after that and probably new all-time highs. But that's a long ways away. And to the downside, which I'm leaning a little more towards, is if we break below 39,000. Yeah, so 44,600 to be mega bullish. But if we can get back above this range in the 200, I think we could make it up to this purple region right here at 43K. Maybe even a wick higher. But if we go to the downside, my first stop would be 38K. Second stop, 35. Third stop, 33. If those levels are broken. I'm not saying that it's going down to 33. I'm saying if each of those levels are broken, I would expect the next level. So those are my thoughts. If you guys like the video, please like and subscribe. And leave a comment. If you guys didn't like the video, leave a dislike. And leave a comment anyway. Tell me how I can improve. Everyone have a great morning, great afternoon, great evening, and I will see you in the next one.